I still remember the day I caught my wife cheating, but however, that was not the worst part. It was the fact that I had been hiding a life-changing secret from her. Suddenly, everything made sense, and I realized that our marriage was not what it seemed. But what was I going to do now? Was I going to confront her or keep my secret safe? The questions were swirling in my head as I stood there, frozen in shock. My wife, Yumi, was kissing her ex in our bedroom, and I had just landed my private jet. She still thought I was the broke man she married, but little did she know, I had been hiding a fortune. The skyline of the city was shining bright, but my world was crumbling. I felt betrayed, and my heart was racing with a mix of emotions: anger, sadness, and confusion. What would happen next? Would I be able to keep my secret, or would it all come crashing down? As I looked at my wife, I couldn't help but think about how our marriage had been a lie from the start. I had been hiding my true identity as a wealthy businessman, and she had been cheating on me with her ex. I felt like I was living in a nightmare, and I didn't know how to wake up. I thought back to the day we met, and how I had fallen in love with her. But now, everything seemed like a facade. I was torn between my love for her and my anger towards her infidelity. I decided to play it cool and not confront her, at least not yet. Instead, I went to the rooftop of our penthouse and looked out at the city skyline, trying to clear my head. The view was breathtaking, but my mind was elsewhere. I thought about my secret life and how it was going to affect our marriage. I was a man with a plan, and I was not going to let my wife's infidelity ruin everything I had worked for. But as I stood there, I couldn't shake off the feeling that I was going to lose everything. The elevator doors opened, and I stepped inside, wondering what the future held. The doorman greeted me with a smile, but I just nodded and walked away. I needed time to think, and the exclusive rooftop was not the place to do it. I went back to our duplex, trying to make sense of everything. The terrace was empty, and the high-rise buildings surrounding us seemed to be closing in. I felt trapped, and I didn't know how to escape. The days that followed were a blur. I was trying to keep my secret safe, but it was getting harder and harder. My wife was getting suspicious, and I knew it was only a matter of time before she discovered the truth. I was walking on thin ice, and one wrong move could ruin everything. I tried to keep my cool, but the tension was building up. I knew I had to do something, but I didn't know what. The stakes were high, and I was running out of time. I thought about confronting my wife, but I wasn't sure if I was ready for the consequences. I was torn between my love for her and my anger towards her infidelity. I didn't know what to do, and the uncertainty was killing me. The view from our penthouse was still breathtaking, but it didn't bring me the peace it used to. I felt like I was living in a prison, and I didn't know how to escape. The exclusive lifestyle was not what it seemed, and I was starting to realize that. The high-rise buildings surrounding us seemed to be closing in, and I felt trapped. I needed a way out, but I didn't know what it was. The doorman greeted me with a smile, but I just nodded and walked away. I needed time to think, and the rooftop was not the place to do it. I went back to our duplex, trying to make sense of everything. The balcony was empty, and the city skyline seemed to be mocking me. I felt like I was losing control, and I didn't know how to get it back. It was a typical Tuesday evening when everything changed. I was in my office, working late, when I received a call from an unknown number. It was a woman, and she claimed to have information about my wife's infidelity. I was skeptical at first, but she revealed some shocking details that made me realize she was telling the truth. I felt like I had been punched in the gut, and I didn't know how to react. The woman told me that my wife had been cheating on me for months, and that she had been using our marriage to get to my wealth. I was devastated, and I didn't know what to do. I felt like my whole world was crumbling, and I didn't know how to stop it. The woman offered to meet me in person, and I agreed. We met at a coffee shop, and she revealed herself to be a private investigator. She had been hired by someone to investigate my wife's activities, and she had uncovered some shocking evidence. I was stunned, and I didn't know what to say. The investigator showed me photos and videos of my wife with her ex, and I felt like I was going to throw up. I didn't know how to process everything, and I didn't know what to do next. The investigator told me that I had two options. I could either confront my wife or use the evidence to divorce her. I was torn, and I didn't know what to do. The city skyline outside seemed to be fading away, and all I could think about was my marriage and my future. In the end, I decided to use the evidence to divorce my wife. It was a difficult decision, but I knew it was the right one. I couldn't stay in a marriage that was built on lies and infidelity. I learned a valuable lesson that trust is everything in a relationship, and once it's broken, it's hard to repair. I also realized that my secret life had been a shield, protecting me from the pain of my wife's infidelity. But it was also a reminder that I had been living a lie, and that it was time to start anew. I took a deep breath, and I looked out at the city skyline. It was a new beginning, and I was ready to face whatever came next. The view was still breathtaking, but this time, it was a reminder of my newfound freedom. I was finally free to live my life on my own terms, without the weight of my wife's infidelity holding me back. I smiled, knowing that I had made the right decision. The elevator doors opened, and I stepped inside, ready to start my new life.